Alright guys, welcome back to F1 News, and despite Max Verstappen's victory at the Montreal Grand Prix, he believes that Ferrari had the quicker car on that weekend and that Red Bull need to further improve their car if they want to stay ahead of Ferrari, saying the championship is far from over here in 2022. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that one. You guys probably already seen the news about Juri Vips yesterday. I'm sure the clips are probably out there for you guys to find. He was playing COD with his mate and then said the M-word, and that usually doesn't end particularly well. Now, as Red Bull Racing say, they've suspended junior driver Juri Vips. He actually, I'm pretty sure, was driving in free practice in place of, I think, Perez in Barcelona a few weeks ago, and kind of crazy scenes what's happened there. So who knows what this means for the rest of his career. It's not looking particularly good. He says that he's going to comply with the investigation, as he says here, unreservedly apologise. Look, this is just a classic statement that doesn't say anything at all. Language is unacceptable, does not betray the values and principles that I hold, deeply regret my actions, all this type of stuff. So tough to feel too much sympathy, really. You say the M-word, this is kind of the way it goes, honestly. Now, as he says, he'll cooperate in the investigation, but I'm not really sure what there is to investigate, to be honest. That the clip is out there that, as I say, you guys can find. Apparently, it wasn't just that as well. Apparently, he also said something earlier about the fact that, basically an association with the colour pink, that even Ryanair and me got right here, don't show this to Juri Vips. I thought it was kind of funny. So, anyway, everyone's clowning on him, and he's been suspended by Red Bull Racing. Probably won't be seen for quite some time. Definitely set his career back by at least a couple of years, right? Often, the way the news works nowadays, things do blow over rather quickly, and we'll see what the future holds here for Juri Vips, but it's not looking particularly promising, and maybe Yuki Tsunoda's seat in the AlphaTauri is safe for at least one more season as a result of this one. But honestly, Red Bull have such a vast driver network and program, below the Formula 1 tier, that there's plenty of other drivers looking to take Vips' place, I'm sure. So yeah, crazy news on that front. Now, speaking of that, really, of course, it does kind of raise an interesting question as to which are kind of the next younger drivers going to be moving up into Formula 1. Has been some rumours about Colton Herta potentially stepping into Riccardo's seat, was rumoured, and Zach Brown says from McLaren, Colton Herta, of course, driving right now in IndyCar, saying that he could be in F1, whether with McLaren or another team in the future, saying that Riccardo's position, though, is safe for next year to the end of his contract. So that's that side of things. Also, Oscar Piastri, rumoured to, of course, be moving into the Williams seat next season in place of Nicholas Latifi, rumoured to be announcing relatively soon indeed. If this is the case, this will be only the second time in Formula 1 history where, a driver will share a track with another driver who was not even born when they made their debut, following Alexander Rocky and Schumacher back at Spain at 2012, right? So that will be the case. If Piastri does come into that seat, he will, he was born after Alonso competed in his first ever Formula 1 race. So that's kind of a crazy stat to mention for you guys. Now, further on the news front, the rumours are still circulating, and seemingly because this is the case, that Spa will be gone for 2023. Its contract comes up at the end of this year, and of course, we don't want to see it gone, but apparently that's going to happen. Unfortunately, infrastructure reasons, financial reasons, you guys know how it is with Formula 1, but apparently it might be relegated to what they call a rotational role, where it comes in every other year or something. Bit of a confusing one, but they're finalising the calendar right now, not in the way that a lot of people are hoping it would have been done. Now let's talk Ferrari and Carlos Sainz. Kind of an interesting statistic right here. Carlos Sainz is edging towards Nick Heidfeld's unwanted record of the most podium placings without a Formula 1 Grand Prix victory. He's now got 11 podiums without a victory. He's certainly creeping up this list, to be honest, towards the top. Grosjean at 10, and then Heidfeld holds the record right now at 13. So we'll see what the future holds for Sainz. But this weekend, I felt like he did take a step forward in this car, looked very competitive, and honestly, it was a bit of a weird race because Verstappen seemed to have such a massive advantage early on, which makes sense because he just pulled away at the start. Once Sainz got past Alonso, Verstappen still had the pace advantage, but kind of towards the middle stint of the race, he was pulling back. He pulled back maybe a couple of seconds over the course of about 10-15 laps or so, and then the safety car, of course, put them right next to each other, and pretty much any mistake from Verstappen probably would have let Sainz through for the victory. Verstappen's just too good, didn't make any mistakes, defended mightily, and just had better traction really out of that turn 10, which helped him stay ahead during those DRS zones. But the question was there this weekend, from the likes of Sainz, okay, let's say Leclerc was in the position Sainz was in, would he have got Verstappen, would he have got past him? Maybe he would have done right, seemingly more comfortable in this year so far than Sainz has been, especially with the kind of the rear wing that Leclerc had, I believe, which gave him a bit less downforce, which potentially would have helped him in the straights. Now, even if Leclerc, let's say theoretically, had have got past in that situation, Verstappen probably would have got him back again, knowing the way the DRS battles work and the kind of advantage that Red Bull have in the straight line. But Sainz said pretty much for the first time this season, he's finally feeling comfortable enough in this year's car to be able to push. In the race, I was pushing flat out without any fear of losing the car like I had, for example, back in Barcelona. So more confidence from the drivers now, it seems, in their car, the F175, and also probably because they're continuing to improve the car. They're taking steps. They're going to take further steps in Silverstone, as apparently are Red Bull, but Max Verstappen says they certainly need to if they want to stay ahead of the Ferrari. Because yes, right now, there is a substantial substantial gap in the championship in both World Drivers' Championship and Constructors for Red Bull against Ferrari, mainly due to the reliability issues they have suffered here in these last few races. But a 49-point gap, I believe, from Verstappen back to Leclerc, but it is certainly not out of the question that that could be overturned. Now, I've no idea who was doing this analysis, right, but there was some analysis coming out right here that said the Ferrari were the quicker car on the weekends, and apparently, according to, I don't know who came up with this, but supposedly if Carlos Sainz was leading into the first corner, he would have won with an 18-second advantage without any VSCs or safety cars. I have an incredible hard time believing that's actually the case, but apparently it's implying that the Ferrari was the quicker car this past weekend. Verstappen seems to agree. He was effectively saying, okay, yeah, they're the quicker car, even though the numbers don't necessarily say that over the course of the race, but you could argue it was just Verstappen doing Verstappen things in the Red Bull, but it's effectively saying that, like, look, the Ferrari was pretty quick, and it was right on us, and maybe if it had been Leclerc behind Verstappen, he feels like he would have lost that race, and not walked away with the 25 points, and he has said that his team doesn't need to improve after Ferrari proved quicker there in Montreal. So he effectively says, look, this team needs to improve. It's still a very long way to go in the championship, 13 or so races still to go. They were not the quickest team on Sunday, he says. I know the gap, of course, is quite big right now between him and the rest of the contenders, but I also know things can switch around very quickly, as of course happens after race 3 after Australia. We need to stay calm, we need to focus, need to improve, because today we were not the quickest. It swings a bit. Last weekend at Baku, it looked good in the race. Now, it didn't look as good, we still managed to win. I think that's also a good quality, and we just have to work together with the whole team to just try and find little improvements in the car, feeling that if he doesn't find that, then Ferrari are certainly taking strides themselves. Going on to say that, kind of the battle is going to go back and forth. I don't think it's always that they've been quicker on Saturday and we've been quicker on Sunday. I think in Barcelona it was kind of the other way around. Leclerc, of course, looked good before the engine exploded, so it goes back and forth a bit. We need to understand, of course, it also rained yesterday, which maybe helped Red Bull a little bit, and it kind of hurt them a bit in the race, right? So there's definitely many factors at play here. Of course, the fact that Verstappen is in the Red Bull is obviously helping them get these race victories, but still, the Ferrari did look more competitive, honestly, this past weekend than maybe I expected it to, in the hands of Carlos Sainz especially, and Verstappen says that, okay, without improvements, they are going to start losing races, and therefore points are going to get clawed back to Ferrari. There's plenty of races still for this championship to turn on its head, but of course, Verstappen is in great form at the moment, and even Matteo Binotto from the Ferrari side says about Carlos Sainz, it was not a surprise that Sainz was the fastest on track. It was the case in the race sim on Friday that he was very strong and close to Red Bull. Carlos is gaining confidence with the car, he's driving faster and faster, and it's good to see that, right? So yes, okay, the driver's getting more comfortable with it, but also the car is also taking steps right in the right direction with the few upgrades that they have brought. Rumour has it, Red Bull are going to bring a pretty major upgrade to Silverstone, as are, most of the other teams going to try as well. But they believe that Ferrari can get pretty close to the Red Bull, but the fact of the matter is they're going to have to beat them in a lot of races if reliability issues don't return for Red Bull, just because, Ferrari are going to have to take probably further engine penalties and win an awful lot in order to overturn the points deficit they currently have. But it's possible, and Verstappen says that he's, certainly not getting comfortable at all, because plenty of races left, plenty can still happen. Charles Leclerc said this morning we looked at, he was confident that, okay, just 2 DNS for Verstappen, which is, plausible the way the season has gone, and then, 2 victories for Charles Leclerc, and that gap is already immediately eradicated. So definitely intrigued to your perspective on this one. It doesn't seem like the Red Bull are just going to run away with this championship for now, at least. Let's say they do win the championship, both championships comfortably, at least we should hopefully get some entertaining races where there's other drivers competing for the victory, not just Max Verstappen. It seems to be at the present time these last few races. Now, speaking of course of great drivers, Nikita Mazepin, he's back in the news because there's some rumours that he's trying to effectively take legal action against Haas because basically they didn't pay him the money that he believes he was owed, so they had taken him to court for that. But I'm pretty sure Haas are going to try and do the same thing the other way around, because there's some reason about effectively where the money comes from for Mazepin into the company, and the dad situation with the ties to Russia, bit of a nightmare. It's I'm not sure this is going to go all Nikita Mazepin's way, to be honest. This is also big news of the day that Audi, rumours of course that Porsche are coming in with Red Bull in a couple of years time, and Audi might be doing the same thing to enter Formula 1 alongside Sauber, right? So Alfa Romeo Sauber probably will become Audi Sauber in a couple of years time, and apparently they've already secured, they reckon, a 25% stake in Sauber for F1 entry in the future. So that is coming, it seems, in the future as well. And just given that we were talking about Spa earlier, I thought I would mention this. These are the expiration dates for the contracts on the circuits. Thanks to motorsport.com for putting this stuff together. So Bahrain and Australia all the way up to 2036, 2035. Qatar up to 2032. A lot of these are into the 2030s now. They are signing long-term deals. A lot of them end in the mid-2020s right here, but we can even see the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, British Grand Prix, Italian Grand Prix, Japanese Grand Prix, that's 2024, Dutch Grand Prix, Mexican Grand Prix 2023, and then expiring at the end of this year, Monaco, we don't know what's happening there, the French Grand Prix, the Belgian Grand Prix, rumoured not to be getting renewed, right? And that's certainly the key issue that I'm sure a lot of F1 fans are going to have, the Belgian Grand Prix, especially at Spa, if this news story continues in the way that it has done lately. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. As always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.